Stand up right now. Go ahead, I mean it. Just for a second, push yourself up from that chair, feel your weight on your feet, and just stand tall. While you are standing there, I want you to pay close attention to the miracle happening inside you. Your heart is beating, your blood is pulsing, and your arteries are quietly, heroically doing their job to keep you alive. But here is the thing that almost nobody realizes, and it's something your doctor might not have the time to explain in a 10-minute checkup. After you cross the age of 55 or 60, your arteries are simply not as resilient or as springy as they once were. Most people live under a very dangerous illusion. They believe that clogged arteries are something that happens suddenly, like a bolt of lightning hitting a tree. They think one day you are perfectly fine, and the next day you are hit with a heart attack or a stroke that flips your entire world upside down. But that is not how the human body works. In reality, clogged arteries are a slow, silent, and methodical process that develops over 20, 30, or even 40 years. There are no alarms. There is no sharp pain to warn you. There are no red lights flashing on your dashboard saying, "Pay attention now." It is a silent buildup that happens in the dark beneath the surface until one day a life-changing event occurs. A heart attack that lands you in the emergency room. A stroke that changes how you move your arm or how your words come out. Or perhaps most heartbreaking of all, you find yourself sitting in a quiet doctor's office hearing those heavy words, "I really wish we had caught this earlier so we could have done more to head it off." Those words sit heavy in the air, don't they? And for more than 30 years, I have made it my life's work to sit down with people just like you, folks in their 60s, 70s, and older, and help them protect their hearts in gentle, natural ways that actually support what the body is already trying to do. What if I told you there is one straightforward thing you can add right into your regular meals? Not some expensive pill, not a scary procedure, but actual food on your plate. That solid, peer-reviewed science says can start helping your body take better care of those arteries, and it can begin working from the very next time you sit down to eat? The best part is that this is not one of those harsh, all-or-nothing diets that make you miserable or force you to give up every single thing that tastes good, or that you share with your family during the holidays. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg at the grocery store, and you can still enjoy the meals that make you smile. Stick with me here because by the time we are finished today, you will have a clear, step-by-step picture of exactly what to put on your plate, why those specific foods make such a massive difference inside your body, and how to do it safely, especially when you are over 60 and want to move carefully with any new habit. Before we go any further, I want to clear up a massive misconception that even some medical professionals get wrong. When people hear the phrase clogged arteries, they almost always picture old kitchen pipes packed solid with years of built-up grease, thick, sticky stuff that just suddenly stops everything. That image is only about 10% of the story, and honestly, it's the least important part. What really starts the trouble is not the grease itself, but a process called long-term systemic inflammation inside the artery walls. Imagine the inner lining of your artery, which doctors call the endothelium. When this lining is healthy, it is smoother than silk, allowing blood to glide along with zero resistance. But when you have chronic inflammation, it is like someone is taking a piece of rough sandpaper to that silk lining every single day. Once that lining gets scratched, scuffed, and rough, little particles of cholesterol that are floating in your blood start sticking to those hurt spots. They aren't trying to hurt you, they are actually trying to patch the wound. But then, calcium starts to pile on top of that cholesterol like hard, brittle cement. The whole area thickens, the artery gets narrower, the walls get stiffer, and your blood has a much harder time getting through smoothly. This whole slow grinding process is called atherosclerosis. Because it builds so gradually, you usually don't notice a single thing until a big problem shows up. But here is the encouraging news. Your body is not a helpless machine. You really can slow that buildup way down, and in many documented cases, you can even help stabilize and undo a portion of the damage that is already there. But only if you stop giving fuel to the inflammation that is driving the whole thing forward. That is precisely why the meal approach we are discussing today matters more than almost anything else you can do. Before we move into the solution, I want to ask you a favor. If you are feeling up for it, just drop a quick comment below with your age. I genuinely want to know who is here listening and thinking about taking a positive step for their heart today. It makes this feel less like a lecture and more like a friendly conversation between us. Now, let's talk plainly about what is actually happening inside your body as the years pass, because understanding the why helps the how make so much more sense. When you reach your 60s or 70s, four key biological changes happen that hit your arteries particularly hard. The first change is that ongoing arterial inflammation we just mentioned. Picture your arteries like a flexible garden hose that you use to water your garden. When the inside is nice and clean, the water flows in a perfect, steady stream. But chronic inflammation roughs up that inner surface, like moss or algae building up inside the hose. So the flow gets choppy and turbulent. This turbulence creates more friction, which creates more heat and more damage, which then attracts more plaque. It is a vicious cycle. A huge study from Harvard University kept track of more than 5,000 adults for 15 full years and discovered that measuring inflammation levels predicted who would have a heart attack far better than just looking at cholesterol numbers by themselves. You might be sitting there thinking, but Dr. Kent, I've heard that low-fat diets and statin pills are supposed to fix all of this. The truth is that while those things can help with some parts of the picture, they often don't touch the root cause of the inflammation, so the problem just keeps simmering underneath like a fire in the walls of a house. The second change you need to understand is oxidative stress combined with plaque that becomes unstable. This is a concept that is life-saving if you grasp it. You see, not all plaque is the same. Some plaque is hard and calcified. It's like a rock. While it narrows the artery, it's actually relatively safe because it's stable. But other plaque is soft and fragile. Imagine a very thin sheet of ice stretched over a deep pond. One small bump, one spike in blood pressure, or one burst of inflammation, and that thin sheet of ice cracks open. When that soft plaque ruptures, your body tries to heal the cut by forming a massive blood clot instantly. That clot is what causes the sudden heart attack or stroke. What weakens that fragile cap on the plaque is oxidative stress, basically damage from free radicals that act like tiny microscopic sparks wearing your tissues down. Researchers at Johns Hopkins followed about 2,400 older adults and found that the people who got more antioxidants through their food had a 52% lower chance of that dangerous plaque breaking open. Antioxidants act like little shields that calm those free radicals and help keep your plaque hard and stable so it stays exactly where it belongs. The third change is a significant drop in nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is a wonderful, tiny molecule that your blood vessels produce to help them relax and open wider. Think of it like a drop of high-quality oil on a squeaky, stiff door hinge. Without enough of it, everything gets tight, rigid, and hard to move. As we get older, our bodies naturally lose the ability to manufacture nitric oxide efficiently. By the time you are 70, you might be producing 75% less than you did when you were 20. This is why your blood pressure tends to creep up as you age. Your arteries are literally stuck in a constricted or tight position, and your heart has to work twice as hard to push blood through them. But scientists in Barcelona ran a study showing that people who followed a specific Mediterranean-style way of eating for only 4 weeks saw their nitric oxide levels jump up by 30%. Their arteries became noticeably more flexible and younger in less than a month. That is a quick and incredibly encouraging change that comes from food alone, not from a laboratory. The fourth change that sneaks up on so many of us is blood sugar spikes, after meals combined with growing insulin resistance. A lot of folks in their later years don't connect the dots between what they ate for lunch and what is happening in their arteries 2 hours later. But every time your blood sugar shoots up fast, it is like dumping corrosive chemicals onto delicate silk. The tiny damage adds up quietly over time. Those spikes cause your body to pump out extra insulin, and extra insulin is like a signal that tells your artery walls to grow thicker and stiffer. Have you noticed tingling or numbness in your feet sometimes? Or that heavy, overwhelming, tired feeling that hits you an hour or two after a meal? Maybe your blood pressure numbers have been edging higher, even though you are trying to watch your salt? If any of that sounds familiar, go ahead and type the word artery in the comments right now. It helps to see that we are not alone in noticing these little everyday signs. So many people get stuck focusing almost entirely on cholesterol, trying to get that LDL number lower and lower, because that is what the commercials and the old textbooks have told us for 40 years. And yes, cholesterol plays a role, but inflammation, oxidative stress, and those blood sugar roller coasters are the real drivers. That is why going straight after the root causes usually brings much better, longer-lasting protection. Let me share a story about someone I worked with named Margaret. She was 67 years old when she first walked into my office, and she had that look of deep worry that I see on so many faces. Heart trouble ran in her family. Her father had passed away far too young, and her recent ultrasound had picked up the early signs of plaque buildup in her carotid arteries. She told me, "Dr. Kent, I feel mostly okay. I can still tend my garden, I walk to the mailbox, I play with my grandkids. So why is this showing up now? Am I just destined to end up like my dad?" Her blood pressure was running around 146/88. Her cholesterol was in that borderline zone, but her inflammation markers were very high. We didn't overhaul her entire life overnight. Instead, we started her on the heart protocol, a straightforward way of eating that directly targets those 4 changes we just talked about. After 8 weeks, she came back in. Her blood pressure had come down to a beautiful 128/78 without adding any new medications. Her inflammation markers had dropped by 36%, but the best part was her face. She looked lighter. She told me the mental cobwebs were gone and she had the energy to chase her grandkids around the yard again without getting winded. Then there was George, 72 years old. George was the ultimate rule follower. For 20 years, he had eaten a low-fat, low-cholesterol diet. He skipped the eggs, he skipped the red meat, he ate the healthy whole wheat bread and the low-fat margarine. And yet his latest scan showed that his plaque was still progressing. He was devastated. He told me, "I feel like I've failed, even though I did everything they told me to do." I explained to George that by cutting out healthy fats and replacing them with processed carbs and inflammatory vegetable oils, he was actually feeding the fire. We gently shifted his eating toward the Mediterranean pattern, adding back the healthy oils and the fatty fish. 2 months later, his scan showed that his plaque had finally stabilized. It had stopped growing. His triglycerides dropped from 220 to 160, and his good HDL cholesterol went up by 15%. George started carrying himself with pride again. He told his golf buddies that he finally felt like he was doing something active to help his heart, instead of just crossing his fingers and hoping for the best. Stories like Margaret's and George's are not unusual. The research from the Mayo Clinic and other world-class institutions keeps showing the same thing. When you choose meals that fight inflammation with omega-3 fats, colorful vegetables, and real olive oil, your arteries respond. They get more flexible. Plaque becomes more stable. Blood flow improves. This is how you build cardiovascular resilience so that daily life feels easier and less worrying. Now, I am going to walk you through the exact 5 steps of the heart protocol so you can start doing this yourself. We are going to start at the foundation and work our way up. Step 5 is to include fatty fish in your diet at least twice a week. I'm talking about salmon, sardines, mackerel, or anchovies. These fish are essentially vessel medicine because they are packed with high-quality omega-3 fats, specifically EPA and DHA. These fats are like the ultimate fire extinguishers for arterial inflammation. They also help your body produce more nitric oxide so your vessels can relax. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who ate these fats consistently saw a 380% improvement in their arterial flexibility in just 12 weeks. If you really don't like the taste of fish, you can look into high-quality purified fish oil capsules, but please talk to your doctor first, especially if you are on blood thinners like warfarin, because omega-3s are very effective at keeping your blood smooth and slippery. Step 4 is to fill your plate with colorful, non-starchy vegetables. Think about deep green spinach, peppery arugula, crunchy broccoli, bright red peppers, and ripe tomatoes. These vegetables are loaded with polyphenols and fiber. The fiber is crucial because it literally grabs onto extra cholesterol in your gut and carries it out of your body before it can even enter your bloodstream. The plant compounds act as powerful antioxidants that shield your arteries from oxidative stress. Harvard followed 3,000 adults for 10 years and found that those eating 5 or more servings of these vegetables every day had 42% less arterial stiffness. Try to eat them raw or lightly steamed to keep the nutrients intact, and try to mix up the colors. Different colors provide different types of protection. Step 3 is the liquid gold, extra virgin olive oil. This is one of the most powerful heart health tools in existence. It contains oleic acid and a very special antioxidant called hydroxytyrosol. This compound specifically protects your LDL cholesterol from oxidizing. Remember, cholesterol is only truly dangerous when it becomes oxidized or rancid. Olive oil acts like a preservative for your blood vessels. The best way to use it is as a finishing oil. Drizzle it over your vegetables or your fish after they are already cooked. Make sure you buy oil in a dark glass bottle and store it in a cool, dark cupboard, because light and heat can destroy those delicate antioxidants. Just 2 tablespoons a day can make a massive difference in how smooth your artery walls stay. Step 2 is to use natural flavor enhancers that do double duty. Garlic, turmeric, black pepper, and fresh lemon juice. These aren't just for taste, they are biological modifiers. Garlic has been shown in multiple studies to lower blood pressure and reduce the stiffness of the aorta. Turmeric contains curcumin, which is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatories known to man. But remember, you must eat turmeric with a little bit of black pepper to help your body absorb it. Using these herbs and spices allows you to cut back on salt while giving your arteries a steady dose of protection. Crushed garlic, in particular, can lower your inflammation markers by 20 to 30% in just a few months. Step 1 is perhaps the most difficult but the most important. You must avoid the inflammatory triggers. I'm talking about refined carbohydrates like white bread, sugary cereals, and pastries, as well as industrial vegetable oils like soybean oil, corn oil, and canola oil. These oils are processed with high heat and chemicals, and they are very high in omega-6 fats, which can trigger inflammation if you eat too much of them. When you eat these triggers, it is like trying to put out a fire with one hand while pouring gasoline on it with the other. Swap the white bread for small portions of berries or nuts, and swap the yellow vegetable oils for butter, avocado oil, or olive oil. No supplement in the world can make up for a diet full of these triggers. When you bring all 5 of these steps together, your body starts to shift from a state of defense to a state of healing. In the first week, you might notice that you don't feel quite as wiped out after lunch. Your digestion might feel smoother. By the second week, your blood pressure numbers might start to settle into a lower, more consistent range. By week 4, the deeper structural benefits begin. Your plaque starts to stabilize, becoming harder and less likely to rupture. Your arteries regain that youthful flexibility. This isn't a magic trick, it's just what happens when you give your body the raw materials it needs to repair itself. I want to be very straightforward about safety. This heart protocol is wonderful, but it is not a replacement for medical treatment. You should never, ever stop taking your prescribed medications without talking to your doctor. If you are on blood thinners, have kidney issues, or are on a potassium-restricted diet, you must check with your physician before you start eating huge amounts of spinach or taking fish oil. The smartest way to start is slowly. Maybe just add the olive oil this week, and then add the fish next week. Let your system adjust. Here is my challenge to you. Pick just one part of this protocol that feels doable right now. Maybe it's committing to the 2 servings of fish, or maybe it's just buying a bottle of high-quality olive oil. Stick with that one change for 30 days. Then, come back here and leave a comment. Tell us what you noticed. Did you have more energy? Did your blood pressure look better? When you share your story, you aren't just helping yourself. You are giving hope to another senior who might be feeling scared or discouraged. Your arteries have carried you through every laugh, every milestone, and every quiet morning of your life. They have worked for you every single second since you were born. Don't they deserve a little bit of nourishment in return? You aren't just getting old, you are a living, breathing system that can still respond beautifully if you give it what it needs. Take a breath, friend. You've already taken the first step just by listening. Now go make a choice that your heart will thank you for.